Hi everyone, it's Laura and you are at low intensity strength training today. And you will need two light to mid size hand weights for today, or you can grab bottled water, soup cans, whatever you have available at home. But welcome to low intensity strength training, and we're gonna get started. So head to your mat. We're gonna sit first, hands back behind us. And we're going to take the knees side to side. From the side view, taking my knees side to side. My hands are well back behind me. You can bend the elbows if you'd like. Warming up the hips here. Unloaded. Right now I'm keeping both of my glutes down on the ground. But now I'm going to have you lift the hip up off the ground too. And try and drop those knees all the way down to the ground. So move the upper body, the hips off the ground as much as you need to get the knees closer or touching the ground. Nice. Let's transition onto our backs. We're going to do a few glute bridges. If you have high blood pressure, you might want to keep your head above your heart, put a pillow or a bolster underneath your shoulders and head, so that we keep the head above the heart. We're lifting the glutes, lowering down. Use the hamstring, use the glutes. Only lift as high as you can without really activating the low back. It'll be working to stabilize for sure, but that shouldn't be our main mover. It should be our glutes and our hamstrings. Just a couple more. Last one. We'll be returning the glute bridges later. Just a little warm up for you. We're going to go onto our hand-knee position and do some cat-cows, as they're called in yoga. Well, we're warming up the spine, asking our shoulders to hold us up. So we're arching and then dropping the spine down. A couple more times here. And then we're gonna rock the hips back to the heels. My toes are tucked right now, so I'm rocking back and forward. And knees moving. If your knees bother you, be in a kneeling position, you can pull up a beach towel or a bath towel and put it underneath your knees just for a little bit more padding. We're going to tuck the toes, retuck the toes, lift the knees and lower. Lift, really warming up the shoulders. Engage the core, lift. Only just a couple inches above the ground. Lift and lower. So we're going to lift and walk our hands back into, if it's available, a low squat and walk forward. My knees are still above the ground. And then walking forward. If you need to put the knees down and then come back up, or just keep the knees down, push back. It's always an option. Going toward that low squat. Now this time, you're gonna lift the knees, walk the hands back, let the hips lift toward the ceiling, and now you're in standing position. Let's get a couple marches, high knee marches in here with the arms. Warmed up the joints, now we gotta warm up and get the heart beating a little bit harder. And then reach down with your hands, try to keep your head above your heart, and walk out to plank position. Knees can go down here if you'd like, into a knee plank or into that all fours position again. Walk the hands back and stand, march in place. Let's go again. Hands down, walk out to a plank that you're comfortable with today. Hold for a moment and walk back and stand. March again. We're going to do that plank walkout one more time. Starting now. Hands down, reach the hips back, and walk the hands out. Find that plank In the plank, make sure the elbows have a little bend in them if they're not locked out. Excellent work. Walk the hands back for that last time. March in place again. All right, you can keep marching if you like, or you can grab a drink. But I want you to know that we're doing 4 work blocks today. And in each work block, we only have 2 exercises. One is a combo strength move that's going to get lower body and upper body. And the other is a little bit of a cardio move. So we're going to spend more time in the strength because it's low intensity strength, but I want to keep your heart rate up today a little bit too. All right, so the first one, you're going to need 1 of your hand weights, and we're going to be doing lunges with a chop. I'm going to start my timer here. All right, so we're going to step backwards into a lunge, bring that weight to the back leg's hip. Bring it forward, step forward. Step back with the second leg, bring it to the hip, and forward. We're alternating sides. The leg that goes back is the leg we chop toward. If you find that doing the weight is too much, you can set the weight down. We're not taking that back knee all the way down to the ground. We're holding a bit of an isometric here, building our muscular endurance. You're doing great. We have about 15 seconds left. Working legs, obviously, with the lunge, but we're also working our core and shoulder strength with that chop. And weight down. We're going to combine this with a bear crawl. So your hands are going to go down. And if you have some space, crawl forward. And then get a little extra shoulder motion or work by pushing back. Just a few steps forward, few steps back. If you have high blood pressure, you can lower the hips down, or you can go up into a butt kick. With high blood pressure, we want to keep the head above the heart. All right, that was 30 seconds of cardio. We're back to our strength move. Weight up, do the lunge from the side view this time. Step back, weight to that back leg's hip. Nice job. If you feel you want more shoulder work here, you can bring the weight out a little bit farther in front and then bring it back to the hip. So we're working on that shoulder endurance, holding it in position. If doing that causes your shoulders to move up towards your ears, bring it back close to the body. I don't want to create tension in your neck and shoulders here on this one. Doing great, less than 15 seconds left. Keep working. Nice job. And time. Let's go back to that bear crawl or butt kick to get the heart rate up. Here's the butt kick. Getting that heart rate up, keeping it up, or you can go to that bear crawl. Hips high. As I'm doing the crawl, I'm doing opposite hand, opposite leg. So if you find yourself doing the same side, you probably feel really unbalanced. Almost there. All right, last time with the lunge and chop. Grab your weight. You're doing great. All right. Again, if you want that challenge with the upper body, you can reach out in front. But if you feel your shoulders creep up towards your ears, bring it back into the chest. I can feel that my shoulders do not want to be there today. And if you selected a heavier weight to go with the lunge, the shoulders might not be up for it. Already halfway there. Keep working. It's the last time you'll have to do this lunge today. Keep it up. 10 seconds, I'm right there with you. Almost there. Last one. All right, put the weight down, grab a quick drink. All right. The next one that we're going to do is we're going to do we have both weights this time. This is an alternating leg raise with an overhead press. We're going to pair it with a marching or skipping in place that's available to you today. So we'll get started here. All right, so you're going to put your weights up at your shoulders and you're ready. Lift that left leg, press with both arms. Lift the right leg, press with both arms. We're alternating legs, then pressing with both arms. If you feel like your shoulders are going to fatigue as you do this, then you can lift the left leg, press with the left arm. Lift the right leg, press with the right arm. So that you can get all your reps in, but you're not overworking your shoulders. There's so many things you could do for your shoulders that we tend to overwork them. Just don't be afraid to back off from that double press. 10 seconds left. If balance is an issue, you can just slide the leg out and then slide it back in. Nice. All right, so we're going to do our marches, just like we did in our warm-up. So if you want to keep the impact really, really low and the intensity down, you can go even smaller marches. It's where you're at today, but I want you to feel like you're working. Try to at least get a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. You can also do a little skip if you're feeling good and you want that intensity. All right, let's go back to our leg raise with the press. So leg raise, press. I'm gonna go from the side view. If your shoulders are chronically tight, you can press out at more of a 45-degree angle as opposed to straight up. This is especially useful if you find that when you're pressing, that your shoulders, everything gets really tight. You also might find your range of motion is better with one arm at a time. So don't try and force the 2-arm just because that's what I said. Listen to your body. It's easier to get better range of motion when you're moving one arm at a time. 10 seconds left here. You've got this. Working the outer thighs here, outer hip, and the shoulders. All right, let's go back to our marches. So you might be here, marching in place. You might be really high, controlled. You might be even a little bit faster. You might add a little skip to your march. Again, trying to get that heart rate to stay up a little bit in whichever way is accessible to you. 5 seconds left. Good. One last time here on the presses. All right. Leg lift, press, lift, press. You've got this. As you're pressing overhead, whether it's 2-arm or 1-arm, my arms are getting tired, so I went down to 1 arm at a time. Whether you're pressing 2 arms or 1 arm, make sure that this work is from your shoulder, and that as you're lifting, you're not arching your back. No back arching here. I want you to build strength in those shoulders with a stable spine. Less than 20 seconds. This is your last time through this set of exercises. You're almost there. Nice, that's time, last time with the marches. Do your variation here that feels good, that's keeping your heart rate elevated. I'm adding the skips in, I want a little bit more, but you don't have to. Do what you can where you're pushing your body, but not overtaxing it. Almost there. Time. All right, grab your drink, And get ready for work block 3. This will be a plie squat and a bicep curl. So you're going to need your 2 dumbbells or weights that you're using again. And then we'll add in jumping jack variations. No jump required. So I'll give you more variations. All right, grab your weights. Wide feet, palms face forward. Lower down, curl up. And then lower the curl as you straighten your legs. Whichever direction your toes are facing, that's the direction I want your knees to face as you do this. Nice work. So if your toes are facing forward, your knees should be facing forward. If your toes are facing out like I had them, usually the wider your legs get, the more turned out the toes go. That protects the knee joint by having the knees track the same direction as the toes. Less than 20 seconds here. You're doing wonderful. If the weight gets heavy for the arms, you can do that alternating curl again, just like you did the alternating presses. Great job, almost there. And then we're gonna do jumping jack variations. So here's how we can bring down the impact and the intensity of a jumping jack. If overhead's too much, come across. We're still moving the arms big, but not overhead. Again, just finding the variation that works for you today. If you want to, you could add the jump and the overhead. All right, but we're back already to our curls and plie squats. Get set here and go sideways to you. Curl as you lower. Nice job. Again, you can do the single arm, alternating one at a time. Last superset we did that leg lift, work on the outer thighs. Plie squats, work on the inner thighs. A little bit more. So keep up the work here. Go to 1, curl if you need to. Another option is to drop one weight and curl with 1 dumbbell with a hand on the either side. Find that variation that challenges, but you're still able to maintain good form. All right, back to our jack variation. So you could be here. You could be here. You might be, whoops, here, or the full traditional jumping jack. Just less than 10 seconds here. Find that variation. That feels good. You can do it for the full 30. All right, last time through, we're back to our curls. Toes out, lower and curl. Lower, curl, lift. Nice. With the squats, any type of squat, we want to make sure it's the knees and hips doing the work and the spine stays pretty stable. If your knees are bothering you, try and keep the knees stacked over the ankle. Keep your shin as vertical as possible. 20 seconds, you have this. Find your variation. Even if it's just putting out 1 weight in front of your chest and holding the curl in place. Finish strong, 5 seconds. Good. All right. Find your jack here and go. Nice job. Keep working. If you're going in front, you can switch if one goes over the top. Little brain exercise. Help build some neurons. Almost there. Time. Nice job. Grab your drink before our fourth and final work block. All right. I promised glute bridges again. So we're getting our glute bridges. We're also doing skaters, honor of the Winter Olympics. All right, so you're going to have doing glute bridges with the skull crusher. So you need to have one of your weights right nearby. All right, you're down on the floor. You got your one hand weight. Lay on your back, weight, one hand on either side of the weight, and lift the hips, lower, press overhead, bring the weight towards your forehead. Now leave that weight up there. Glute bridge, lower the weight, nice and controlled. Lift, glute bridge, lower the hips, lower the weight. Lift the weight, lift the hips. Lower, lower the hands, bring it up, lift the hips. Nice job. If this is too much for the brain to process here in our fourth work block, you can leave the hips up and do your tricep move. You did a little bicep already. You could also do 3 glute bridges and then 3, these are sometimes called skull crushers. You've got less than 10 seconds left here. Working the triceps, working the glutes. But bring that weight down nice and controlled. Set it to the side. Give yourself some room for skaters. So it's a tap back. So we step wide, tap back with the opposite leg. Staying nice and low. This is our low intensity, low impact on the joints version, but it's still going to keep your heart rate elevated, especially if you get the arms moving. And that kind of speed skater. Nice job. We'll make it a little bit more intense next time if you want it, but back to the glute bridges. All right, press that weight up. Glute bridge, lower, then the little tricep. Glute bridge, lower. Keep working here. Lift the hips, lower them, lower the weight toward the forehead. Never dropping it. If you feel like you're in fear of dropping the weight, then you're going too heavy. So you can lower the weight to make this work for you. Almost there, you got it. Doing that glute bridge. Remember with the glute bridge, like I said in the warm-up, this is from the hips and the hamstrings, not from the low back. Just a few more seconds. I was unsure. I was like, wait, this has been a long minute. All right, back to our skaters. If you want something more intense, you can hop from side to side. If you found getting up made you dizzy, then just wait a moment until sometimes when we jump up from the floor, especially if we have blood pressure issues, our blood pressure can drop when we get dizzy. So wait on it if you need to. If that was you this last time, then stay up here and you can work on your tricep extensions up here. But if not, you can go back to the ground for your glute bridges. Press that weight up over your chest. Lift the hips, lower the hips. You're doing great. This is our last round before we cool down. You're almost to the end of it. You get to stretch out, get that heart rate back down. But for now, we keep working, pressing to the end. You know you've got that skater after this too. Almost there. And bring the weight down. 30 seconds here on the skater. Wait a moment to see, make sure that our blood pressure hasn't been impacted, that you're not dizzy. Whew, I got a little dizzy standing up. If you're ready to go, get those skaters started. And It passed for me, so I'm going into it. I'm gonna make the most of these 20 seconds because I missed my first 10. Remember, you can always go back to just the wide step out to the side, moving the arms big. You're almost there. Couple more. And time. Nice work. Grab a drink. All right. We're just going with some wide legs here to start cooling down. You put your hands just above your knees. Go side to side, nice and easy. You might feel a stretch on the inner thigh. That's what we're looking for. You did great. You made it through. We got our strength training in. We added it today with some little bit short cardio bursts to give our muscles a little bit of time to rest and do something else before we get back to the strength. All right, let's stand up. Nice easy butt kicks here. Some people like to do wide feet if you prefer narrow. But really what we're doing is we're trying to dynamically get the quads stretched out here. Not just sit down and stop doing stuff really fast. Good, nice job. Now we can sit down. And we're gonna go wide with the legs, and we're gonna reach up and over. I'm reaching to the left. So if you're mirror imaging me, you're going to the right. And then reach over to the other side. I'm gonna hold this for about 5 seconds, make it a little bit more dynamic. Switch. Again, trying not to cool. Let the body just go into from fire hose to nothing. We'll go one more time on the second side, and then we'll return and do a little bit longer side stretch. So I'm back to my original side. And I'm breathing deeply here. If it's uncomfortable to sit on the floor, you could do, put like a ottoman underneath your hips and sit at the edge of it, or the edge of a chair. Or you can even just put sometimes even just putting a pillow or a rolled up towel underneath your sit bones, the hip bone, the bottom of the pelvis, sit bones that they say in yoga a lot, or Pilates, switch sides. That can be enough to take the pressure off sitting right on the floor. We sit a lot, but we don't often sit on the floor, so our hips aren't used to opening up in floor range of motion. So we can lift those hips up off the ground and make this more accessible. Nice, all right. Let's switch our leg position. We'll go into a butterfly position, and we're gonna keep the butterfly. Find a spot where you get a little pull, but it's not your main focus, and then we're gonna stretch the back side, pulling the arm across the front of the body. Notice if, as you pull the arm across the front of the body, if your whole body twists. Can you keep your shoulders square to the front? Even as the arm comes across the body. All right, we're gonna do the other side, but now we had our feet flat against each other. Now we're gonna pull the toes apart and keep the heels together as we do the other side. When we do, a lot of times, like I have to take my feet farther away from my pelvis here to make that work for me. But changing the position of the foot can impact how the hip feels. So getting more things done at once here. This is a true multitasking. Setting the legs and leaving it there. Focusing on the arm. All right, hopefully you feel that your heart rate has lowered, that your blood pressure's decreased a bit. And we're gonna do some floor angels here. So lay on your back again. If the blood pressure is high, you can keep your head above your heart using some pillows or wedges, yoga bolsters if they're available. But right now we're just gonna do some floor angels. It's just like if you were making a snow angel outside. And if you find a spot that's really, really tight, you can just put the arms down to the floor and hang out there. It's too much to put the arms down to the floor because it's so tight. Then you can put pillows underneath your arms so they don't have to go as far. We're working with what our body is able to do today. All right, we're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left ankle. If that took a lot of back motion, low back motion, or a lot of finagling to get into that position, you might need to put your foot out a little bit farther. So it felt pretty good. You could reach behind the leg and draw it in. If you're at home and want to get deeper into the stretch, but you can't quite get around the leg, then you can use a scarf or a towel to wrap it around the thigh of the non-stretching leg. So really I'm stretching my right hip. Whichever ankle is crossed over, that's the one you're stretching. And then you can lower that leg, uncross, and then hook the left ankle over the right knee. And see if you find me. I found a hidden surprise in my left hip. It's really tight. Just breathe as you're stretching. Always make sure that with each breath, you're trying to let go of more tension wherever you're feeling the pull. And when you feel stretched, you can stay on the ground if you want to and enjoy it. But if you're done, I'm done here. Again, this is Laura. This was low intensity strength training for you today. I hope you had a great time.